The Great Wall of China, the wall that divided a civilization. It extends for more than 21,000 kilometers across mountains, deserts, and plains. It is visible from space, according to popular myth. It has withstood invasions, earthquakes, erosion, and the passage of more than 2,000 years. We are talking about the Great Wall of China, one of humanity's most monumental constructions. But behind this architectural marvel hides a dark history of human sacrifice, brutal engineering, and imperial ambitions that cost millions of lives. Today we will discover why this wall not only divided territories, but also divided an entire civilization. The history of the Great Wall does not begin with a single visionary emperor, but with centuries of conflict and division. During the Warring States period, 7th to 3rd centuries BC, China was not a unified nation, but a mosaic of 7 independent states that constantly fought among themselves. Each kingdom built its own defensive walls, not only to protect themselves from the nomadic tribes of the north, but also from their Chinese neighbors. These first walls were modest constructions, rammed earth walls, stacked stones, and wooden palisades. But they already showed the defensive mentality that would characterize China for millennia. The idea that civilization should protect itself from external barbarism through physical barriers. In the year 221 BC, Qin Huang achieved what seemed impossible, unifying China under a single empire. This emperor, known for his brutality and megalomania, had a clear vision: to create an impenetrable barrier that would protect China from nomadic invasions from the north, mainly from the Xiongnu, predecessors of the Huns. His strategy was brilliant in its simplicity: connect and extend the existing walls of the ancient kingdoms to create a continuous barrier. But the execution was ruthless. He mobilized more than 1 million workers, soldiers, peasants, prisoners, and slaves. Working conditions were inhuman: dawn to dusk workdays, scarce food, primitive tools, and brutal punishments for any fault. The mortality was catastrophic. It is estimated that between 400,000 and 1 million people died during the initial construction. The bodies of dead workers were often buried directly in the wall's foundations, giving rise to the legend that the Great Wall is the world's longest cemetery. The construction of the wall was a monumental engineering challenge. In the mountains, workers had to carve living rock and transport materials along impossible paths. In the deserts, they fought against sandstorms and extreme temperatures. In the plains, they excavated clay and rammed it layer by layer. The main technique was hung to or rammed earth. Layers of earth, gravel, and water were compacted between wooden frames until creating walls as solid as concrete. In some sections they used a mixture that included glutinous rice, which acted as natural cement and gave the structure extraordinary resistance. Workers used basic tools: wooden shovels, bamboo baskets, stone rammers. All work was done by hand. To transport materials through mountainous terrain, they developed a system of pulleys and ramps that anticipated modern construction techniques by more than 1,000 years. The Great Wall was not just a wall, but a complete defensive system. Every 2 to 3 kilometers a watchtower rose, from where soldiers could communicate through smoke signals during the day and bonfires at night. A message could travel from the frontier to the capital in a matter of hours. Strategic fortresses controlled mountain passes and trade routes. Some, like the fortress of Jiaguan, were true military cities with barracks, warehouses, workshops, and markets. But the wall had an equally important psychological function. It represented the division between Chinese civilization and the barbarian world. For the Chinese, crossing the wall to the north meant entering lands of exile and death. This defensive mentality would mark Chinese culture for centuries. Historical records speak of a human tragedy of epic proportions. During the almost 2,000 years of construction and maintenance of the wall, it is estimated that between 6 and 10 million people died. This includes not only direct workers, but entire families that were uprooted to participate in the project. The causes of death were multiple: exhaustion, malnutrition, accidents, diseases, corporal punishment, and executions. Workers slept in unsanitary barracks, ate a subsistence diet, and worked without rest under the surveillance of brutal supervisors. The families of dead workers rarely received compensation. Bodies were buried in mass graves or, according to legends, incorporated directly into the wall's foundations. This practice gave rise to countless stories of ghosts and curses that persist to this day. Each Chinese dynasty modified and reconstructed sections of the wall according to their needs and resources. The Han Dynasty, 206 BC 220 AD, extended it westward to the Gobi Desert. The Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644 AD, reconstructed it massively, creating the most famous sections we see today. It was during the Ming Dynasty that the wall acquired its most recognizable form: stone and brick walls instead of rammed earth, more elaborate towers, and more sophisticated fortresses. This reconstruction responded to a new threat: the Mongols, who had conquered China during the Yuan dynasty and threatened to return. Ironically, when the Manchus finally conquered China in 1644, they did not do so by breaking the wall, but by bribing a Chinese general to open the gates for them. The wall, which had cost millions of lives, was betrayed from within. One of the most persistent myths about the Great Wall is that it is visible from space. This claim, popularized for decades, is completely false. Astronauts have repeatedly confirmed that the wall is not visible to the naked eye from Earth's orbit, just as other human constructions are not. Another myth is that the wall is a continuous structure of 21,000 kilometers. In reality, it is composed of multiple sections built at different times, many of which were never connected. Some sections are double or triple walls. Others include natural barriers like rivers and mountains. Its military effectiveness is also exaggerated. Although it deterred some minor invasions, the great conquests of China, Mongols, Manchus, managed to overcome it through strategy, not brute force. For centuries, the Great Wall was abandoned and plundered. Local peasants stole stones and bricks to build their houses. Entire sections collapsed due to lack of maintenance. It was not until the 20th century that China rediscovered its value as a national symbol and tourist attraction. Modern restoration has been controversial. Many historical sections that tourists visit are actually recent reconstructions that do not respect the original methods. Some parts have become theme parks with cable cars and souvenir shops. Mass tourism is causing new damage. Erosion from millions of footsteps, graffiti, garbage, and illegal constructions. Scientists calculate that at the current rate of deterioration, many historical sections will disappear in the next 50 years. The Great Wall has become the definitive symbol of China, representing both its greatness and its defensive mentality. In traditional Chinese art, it appears as a metaphor for protection and permanence. In communist propaganda, it symbolizes the Chinese people's capacity to accomplish great works through collective sacrifice. But it also represents darker aspects of Chinese culture: authoritarianism, contempt for individual life in favor of great state projects, and the siege mentality that has characterized China for millennia. For many historians, the Great Wall exemplifies the Chinese paradox: a civilization extraordinarily advanced in technology and organization, but also capable of systematic cruelty without precedent. The history of the Great Wall offers disturbing lessons for our time. It shows how great infrastructure projects can become instruments of oppression when political objectives are prioritized over human welfare. It also illustrates the futility of physical barriers against complex problems. The wall did not stop China's most important invasions, which came by sea, through internal betrayal, or through gradual assimilation. In an era where new border walls are being built around the world, the Great Wall reminds us that these constructions say more about the fears of those who build them than about their real effectiveness. The Great Wall of China is simultaneously an architectural marvel and a monument to human suffering. It is testimony to what a civilization can achieve when it mobilizes all its resources toward a single objective, but also to what that obsession can cost. For more than 2,000 years, millions of people lived and died to build a barrier that, ultimately, could not fulfill its main purpose. The invasions that really changed China came through other means: cultural assimilation, internal corruption, technological superiority. Today, as we walk through the restored sections of the wall, contemplating its serpentine beauty through the mountains, it is important to remember that each stone represents not only the greatness of a civilization, but also the tears and blood of those who were sacrificed to build the dream of invulnerability. The Great Wall teaches us that physical barriers, no matter how monumental, can never completely protect a society from historical changes. In the end, it is ideas, adaptability, and the capacity for transformation that allows civilizations to survive and prosper. If you have been impacted by this story of greatness and tragedy, don't forget to subscribe and share your reflection on what lessons we can extract from the Great Wall for our current world. Over 2,000 years, Entire generations shaped a fortress that defies time. What few know is that its construction required not only stone and wood, but unexpected materials like glutinous rice and egg whites, used to reinforce the foundations. Its extension is so colossal that, if all its ramifications were connected, the wall would travel halfway around the equator. The wall is not a single structure, but multiple walls built over 2,000 years. More than 100 million tons of material were used in its construction. Workers developed a signal communication system that could transmit messages 750 kilometers in 24 hours. During the Ming Dynasty, maintaining the wall required 25% of the national budget. Many sections were built by soldiers who never returned home. The wall has more than 7,000 watchtowers and 1,000 main fortresses.